Now at 5, Joplin's new KCU Dental School celebrates a grand opening. Plus, police look for the person who vandalized and stole from the Alliance.
National security officials say there was no U.S. involvement in the weekend's armed rebellion in Russia. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House, where President Biden is pledging continued support for Ukraine.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Kansas City University in Joplin officially opens its College of Dental Medicine. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. After years of anticipation and construction, the new facility today held a grand opening and the media got an inside look. In a few weeks, 80 dental students will fill the seats and begin their 4-year education, becoming the next generation of dentists, orthodontists, and hygienists.
For individuals in rural communities, it's hard to find a dentist. Transportation becomes a problem, whether you have dental insurance or not. So having a dental school in this community will help improve the oral health of the population of this community.
The College of Dental Medicine will begin taking patients in the next few months. We're going to have more with campus administrators tonight at 6. Seems Oklahoma is producing much more marijuana than the state needs for medical purposes. That's the finding of a report ordered by the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. The organization conducted a survey that found the regulated supply of medical marijuana produced in the state is at least 32 times the patient demand. Could be as much as 64 times the demand. The study concludes the oversupply is very likely adding to an illicit market by some cultivators and retailers. You can find a link to the entire report through KOAMnewsnow.com. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri hopes surveillance images help police identify the person who vandalized and stole from its Joplin building over the weekend. A staff member this morning discovered the damage, which included a broken window and water pipe, human feces on the carpet, and thefts of a TV monitor, food, and beverages. The mission of the Alliance is to improve the health and safety of area children and families. Another hot one out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, we've been mainly into the upper 80s to lower 90s over the past several days, but we do have clear skies. Not too much is going on out there, and it looks like as we go through the evening hours, we're going to be pretty quiet across the region. But look at this, temps upper 80s to near 90 degrees outside for us right now. And as we go through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the 60s. Severe threat. This rolls in tomorrow night. So not tonight, but we're going to get a complex of storms, which is going to head toward us. So this is going to put us at a level 2 out of 5, a level 1 out of 5 in our northern counties. Timing on this will be 10 p.m. tomorrow night until 3 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Plus heat. I'll give you all those details here in just a bit.
See you soon. Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed the country this evening and claimed the Wagner Group, which led the mutiny over the weekend, failed because the Russian people were unified against them. He said the mercenary army was trying to take revenge for their failures in combat. Reporter Skyler Henry has more details from the White House.
President Biden says the U.S. and NATO played no role in the short-lived armed mutiny in Russia, though the allies are closely watching the situation.
We're going to keep assessing the fallout of this weekend's events and the implications for Russia and Ukraine. But it's still too early to reach a definitive conclusion about where this is going.
Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the mercenary Wagner Group, seized a military command in southern Russia, then sent a group of soldiers to Moscow before turning them around. In an audio recording released Monday, Prigozhin said he did not intend to overthrow the Russian government, but was protesting the army for killing his soldiers. Today, his forces are back at their posts, fighting Ukraine.
They're going to integrate these Wagner fighters into the Russian army. How's that going to work out? Not well.
Ukraine is in the middle of a counteroffensive against Russia, hoping to seize on this new uncertainty within the Russian ranks to make advances.
Combat power is capability times will, and that will comes in large measure from confidence and cohesion. And I'll tell you, I think that the Russian military in Ukraine is under tremendous duress.
President Biden says he'll be speaking with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky again soon.
No matter what happened in Russia, we, the United States, will continue to support Ukraine's defense and its sovereignty and its territorial integrity.
The U.S. is expected to announce $500 million in new weapons for Ukraine on Tuesday, including more Bradley fighting vehicles. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Prigozhin was supposed to be headed to Belarus as part of a deal to end the mutiny. However, CBS News has learned that as of this morning, he was still in Russia. The suspect in a mass shooting that killed 5 people at a Colorado Springs LGBTQ+ nightclub last year pleaded guilty to murder and other charges today, as well as no contest to 2 hate crime charges. Anderson Lee Aldrich faces life in prison on the murder charges under the plea agreement. Today's plea comes just 7 months after the shooting and spares victims' families and survivors a long and potentially painful trial. Still ahead, dealing with dementia.
It's Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. I'm Michael George, and I'll explain the early signs of dementia.
And results of a new study on the risk of uterine cancer. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, Black women are at a greater risk for developing a type of aggressive uterine cancer known as endometrial cancer. A survey of 34,000 women published in the journal Cancer shows Black women in America were 2.6 times more likely than white women to have advanced endometrioid cancer. The study suggests social factors play a role in the disparity and not just genetics. Patients suffering from depression are less likely to take their required heart medications. A study presented to the European Society of Cardiology found 1 in 5 patients with implanted defibrillators suffered from depression and anxiety, and those patients were taking their medications less often. Researchers say the study shows the importance of treating mental health issues when implanting defibrillators. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, a time for raising awareness about the staggering number of people who suffer from dementia worldwide. Michael George speaks to a family who's supporting one another after their mom was diagnosed.
This is our daily calendar.
Beth Brunning starts every day with a chat with her son Sean about this calendar.
We put a little sticky note on each day.
You know what day it is.
If we start looking too far ahead,
I get anxious.
The family put this system in place 3 months ago
we also put reminders in her phone.
when the 70-year-old retired nurse was diagnosed with dementia.
I will not sugarcoat it. There are hard days. But it's one day at a time. Just do the best that you can, and I do. I mean, I think I'm able to do most things right now. I don't know what's to come.
She's a great mother, great grandmother. She's always been there for me. So for me, it wasn't even a question of, helping her.
About 1 in 10 adults age 65 and older in the U.S. have dementia, such as Alzheimer's disease.
Trouble remembering, obviously, but they can also have trouble finding words. More difficulty multitasking can be a very early sign of a dementia.
Dr. Gayatri Devi is a neurologist with Northwell Health.
There's so many new drugs that are influencing the course of Alzheimer's disease. So the earlier the diagnosis, the better our ability to make a difference.
Beth is taking medication to try to slow the progression. She tries to stay positive and active.
I love to walk, so that's what I do. That's my therapy.
The family has also found resources and support from the group Caring Kind.
I'm so proud of her for really taking this head on and being able to speak about it. And hopefully people hear this message and they understand that there are
places to go to help you.
And they say their family has never been stronger. Michael George, CBS News.
It's estimated more than 11 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's or other dementias. That's according to the Alzheimer's Association. Child tax credit helped improve the health and nutrition of both children and adults, according to researchers at UCLA who studied the program. The policy, which expired in 2021, provided thousands of dollars to low-income families with children. Doctors say under the plan, more than 1 million adults reported better health and nearly 700,000 households reported greater food security. Currently, 1 in 6 families with children in the U.S. lives in poverty. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, Ford recalls hundreds of thousands of SUVs.
Plus, we got more thunderstorms in the forecast, and it gets very hot. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be another warm, kind of hot day once again for us today across the region. Mostly sunny skies, and at least the humidity is low, so we're not dealing with the real muggy conditions with the heat over the past day or two. Looks pretty good. This is a nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps. It's 88 in Stockton, 84 in Monette's, 92 in Veneta. Neodesha sitting at about 91 degrees. So it is hot. We do have the clear skies across the region, sitting at 89, northerly winds. So our high temp, 89, 90 degrees for us today. But those temps are actually going to go up quite a bit over the next couple days. Through the evening, slide back through the 80s, 70s. We drop back into the mid 60s a little bit later on tonight. But clear skies. Not a whole bunch is going on here or the Central Plains. But later on tonight, we're going to get some thunderstorms in eastern parts of Oklahoma, which will start to pop up, and that could give us a few random showers late tonight into the morning hours. Look at this big dome of high pressure. So this is what is going to really push the heat in, and we're getting little waves that kind of jump over that high and slide right on in, and that's going to happen for us as we go into tomorrow night. So not tonight, but tomorrow night, we will have a threat for a little bit of severe weather. Level 1 out of 5 for a good chunk of us, level 2 out of 5 once you get into the southern counties. 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., main threats, hail and wind. I'm going to keep all the threats on the lower side right now, but of course something we're going to keep our eyes on as we go through the next 24 hours or so. Let's step through time. Here's 6 a.m. You can see a couple little showers trying to pop up in our western counties. So through the morning, there may be an isolated shower or two, but most of us will end up staying dry. By the noon hour, we're already up into the mid 80s, and then we go into lower 90s once we get into the afternoon. We are gonna have more clouds, but in general, it looks pretty good across the region. Tomorrow night, look at the complex. So here's 11:30 p.m. Showers, thunderstorms start to get into our western counties, drive east. And again, some of these storms could be strong, possibly severe. Main threat here is going to be hail and wind across the region. But by Wednesday morning, most of these are gone. Then we look pretty good Wednesday afternoon. But the heat starts kicking in. Look at this, triple-digit heat by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon. Thankfully, the humidity is not going to be too bad. So we're not going to have those high heat indices, but it doesn't matter once the temperature gets above 100 degrees. So that's what we're going to see by Wednesday afternoon. All right, in the morning, isolated shower, high temp tomorrow, 94 degrees. The heat gets even worse. Look at this, by Thursday, 105, 106, maybe 107 in some areas. So yeah, it's definitely going to get hot. It's going to feel like summer across the region. All right, 94 tomorrow. I'm going to make it alert days Wednesday due to the heat, 102, 105 on Thursday, possible alert day on Friday. We are going to get a few thunderstorms, so we'll have to see if that keeps our temperatures down just a bit. A little bit cooler over the weekend. Thunderstorms move in on Saturday, and then the 4th of July, we could have a few pop-up storms as well.
We don't want it to be raining on the fireworks. We need the rain, but not then.
Very true.
Thanks, Chuck. Take a look at this. This massive tornado tore through 3 miles of Johnson County, Indiana yesterday. Officials say it damaged 75 homes, but amazingly killed no one. However, severe storms are being blamed for several deaths across the South, including in Arkansas and Georgia, where a tree fell on a pedestrian. The weather knocked out power to thousands of homes, leaving residents across the South without the ability to cool off as they also deal with dangerously high temperatures. Coming up, a threat to the future of AM radio. Topping today's Consumer Watch, U.S. safety auto regulators have opened an investigation into Ford vehicles that could roll away even while placed in park. Last year, Ford recalled nearly 300,000 Explorer SUVs and added a software update to fix the glitch. But the government says it's received complaints even after the recall-related repairs, including from one driver who struck a utility pole. More than 7 million Robo Alive Junior Baby Shark Sing and Swim bath toys have been recalled. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says the toys' hard plastic fins create a risk of impalement, laceration, and puncture injuries. There have been at least a dozen reports of children falling or sitting on the regular-sized toys that have resulted in injuries. Parents who have the recalled toys can contact the manufacturer for a refund. Americans have had a century-long love affair with AM radio, but some new electric vehicles no longer have it. Chris Van Cleve has more on the efforts to keep the airwaves coming in loud and clear through car radios.
As you approach the McCluggage Bridge.
For nearly 100 years, WMBD has been covering and talking about the news in central Illinois from 1470 on the AM dial. But not anymore for drivers of a number of new electric vehicles. A host of automakers have pulled AM radio tuners from their cars, saying the EV batteries can interfere with reception.
They've been around a long time.
Greg Batten is the Greg in the Dan and Greg Show, heard mornings on WMBD for nearly 20 years.
I'm not worried that we can't adapt to those changes, but it doesn't help when you yank away a few million radios and say, well, those folks can't listen to you ever.
During a hearing on Capitol Hill this month, first responders argued AM radio serves as the backbone of the nation's emergency alert system.
When disaster strikes, no one should lose access to this essential information because the vehicle being driven does not have AM radio.
This has been something that
Scott Schmidt from the trade association representing automakers told Congress the vast majority of cars still have AM radio, and the decision to pull it from some EVs was not made lightly.
our members view that there are more options for delivering content and alerts now in vehicles than there ever were.
But that drive to tune out AM radio is prompting unusual bipartisan agreement between the very liberal Senator Ed Markey and the very conservative Senator Ted Cruz. They are now co-sponsoring a bill to require AM radio stay in vehicles. While automakers call the proposed legislation distinctly non-essential, Ford reversed course, dropping plans to remove AM radio from all its new vehicles and will return it to all 2023 EVs in the coming weeks. Ford's Donna Dixon is the lead engineer for the electric Mustang Mach-E.
We talked and listened to our customers, just the customers telling us, hey, there's some emergency broadcast frequencies that still aren't available.
Why take it out at all? It seems like it's not broke, don't fix it kind of problem.
And we'll continue to watch it as we go forward to make sure that it's available.
Mach-E owner Keith Rice is glad to hear it's staying.
I just think there's too many things on AM radio that people still use.
WMBD.
Something that's never far from Greg Batten's mind whenever that on-air light turns red. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Peoria, Illinois.
There are nearly 4,500 AM radio stations all across the country, heard by nearly 82 million Americans every week. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, where the dream of owning a home is now a reality with the help of a TikToker. Then on KOAM News at 6, more on the opening of the new dental school in Joplin and just what it means for the community. Plus an update on how bridge repair work is going to impact I-44 traffic. And Joplin High School football hosts a 7-on-7 tournament today. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Brave couples competing in a wife-carrying contest at a midsummer festival in British Columbia, Canada. The team members identifying as husbands have to carry their wives or friends through a course filled with obstacles. The contest has its origins in Finland. The winning team is a man from Ukraine and a woman from Russia. Their prize, the woman's weight in beer. So, I suppose that means the heavier the woman, the better the prize, assuming you could still win.
It's true. I think it's interesting. It's Ukraine and Russia.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unplanned, I think. That's the way it turned out.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, the heat starts to kick in over the next few days. 94 tomorrow, 102 on Wednesday. Plus thunderstorms tomorrow night. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.